Fine, so let's start with page object model. Right, in page object model the concept is very simple, that is we make one Java file per page of the application. In our web application, no matter how many pages they are, practically we make one Java file per page. Okay, as a beginner you can understand this thing. Okay, but it's really not one Java file, but as a beginner you can understand that for one page you can make one Java file, and the Java files will be dependent on each other because the pages are dependent on each other. Page object model is really successful on many websites, especially e-commerce websites where the pages are similar. For example, if I go to women flats section over here, then this is the page, and over here the layout of the page shows different flats, but if I go to men t-shirts, the layout of the page remains the same, only the contents they are changing. Okay, so on these kinds of sites, page object model is really useful. You can use it on other sites as well. Okay, there is no limitation like that. Alright, now to start with page object model, let me just take up a simple example in Eclipse. Right, that is, this is Eclipse, and I am going to make a new Java project, okay, known as Flipkart page object model. Fine, now let's look at the structure first. Okay, I'm not making a Maven project or something. A basic structure, we later on may build a Maven project as well. Okay, so what we have is that we have got page classes. I'll make a new package known as pages, and you need to understand the functionality of these page classes. For example, if you go over to flipkart.com, how do you open a Flipkart? First of all, what you do is that you open a blank browser. Okay, you open a blank Chrome browser. Right, so this is your launch page. Okay, I will create a new class known as launch page. So launch page will represent this particular blank browser. From this you go to flipkart.com homepage. Okay, so I'll create a new class known as homepage. On the homepage, suppose you have to log in inside Flipkart. Okay, so automatically you get a user ID and password window, and you can enter your email ID and password, and you can log in inside it, and what you get is the landing page. Fine, so suppose you get the next page as landing page. Alright, now these are the three different classes. Let me increase my font size so that it is clearly visible. Just a minute. Now the thing is, these Java files will have functions which will be interacting with each other. For example, on launch page we will have a function. On launch page we will have the function known as public void go to home page. So this function will have the commands over here, the driver.get command or whatever it is, which will take you to home page. The home page class will have a function like public void do login, which will actually be logging in inside the website. Okay, maybe you can send the username and the password in this function. Okay, if the login is successful, it will take you to landing page, and on the landing page you can have a function like, say, a public void choose a product which you have to buy. So after logging in, you go to the landing page where you choose the product. Okay, now it looks simple, but there are very much technicalities which are involved in this. Okay, I'm making it simpler in the beginning. Suppose I have a new package known as test cases. In this package I have a test case known as, say, simple purchase product test. Okay, and I make a testng test case at the rate test public void purchase test. All right, fine. Now how will you go about in this test function? Okay, first of all, say suppose you create the object of landing page. Okay, or sorry, the launch page. Launch page is the first page which actually opens when you start the application. Okay, or when you start the testing, this is the first page which has to open. Okay, in launch page you call the function go to home page. So obviously this function will be called, and maybe you can type over here going to home page. If home page opens up successfully, then what we do is that in page object model we make this function return the object of home page class. Okay, so what this will do is that it will create the object of home page and it will return you back the object of home page. Alright, so what you will get is from the test case, when you call this function go to home page, you will get the object of home page over here as the return type. Fine. On the home page class object, you can call the function do login, because do login is a part of home page where you can log inside the application and you can send the desired user ID and the desired password. Okay, right. And then after logging in, okay, once you call the do login function, obviously do login function will do the login, and if login is successful, it will return you the object of landing page like this. Okay, this will return the object of landing page. So in the test case, okay, in the test case over here, do login will return the object of landing page. Okay, so just hold on, I'll tell you in detail what is actually happening. You import the landing page. Yeah, just a minute. Over here you have to write a return. Okay, fine. So out here you will be returning object of landing page, and you can write over here logging in. So obviously when you run the test case, it will run the test case as testng test. It's going to print the output, that is going to home page and then logging in. Okay, now the thing is after going to the landing page, you can call the function like landing page dot choose product. Maybe it takes you to the product page. We can create another page known as product page p equals to this, right? So the story is endless. It goes like this. Okay, so this is the basic structure, but there are lots of things involved. Like for example, what we are going to build is something like this. I have a sample page object model project. So this is where we are heading. So in the end, the code looks like this, that new launch page dot open the browser dot go to home page dot validator dot validate the title, and then go to the username page, submit the username page, validate the presence of the username page. Okay, submit the password, validate the intermediate. So it goes like this. Okay, right. So anywhere you can use this validator. All right, and validate the text, validate the title, anything in between. Okay, but to start with, you have to start with something like this at a basic level. Fine. Now there are different challenges which you will of course encounter when you are building page object model like this. For example, the first challenge is, suppose I initialize my driver over here. I write web driver, driver equals to new, sorry, Chrome driver. I write this line. Okay, now this driver will represent this Chrome browser. When you are in your launch page, okay, and you go to the home page, you call this function in launch page. To navigate to the home page, you will have to use driver.get command over here in Selenium, which will actually take you to the website. Okay, right, that is http flipkart.com. But you will have to supply the driver from your test case into your home page function, into the go to home page function. Okay, and similarly it will return your object of home page, and in the do login function as well you will of course need the driver over here, driver.findelement.send keys and all, to actually log in inside the website. Okay, so this driver will have to be passed to all the page classes. Okay, these are just 3 page classes, but practically when we work with many page classes. So you cannot just write or send it as a parenthesis. You cannot just send it along with the data. I cannot send it like this. This is the username, password, and this is the driver. So everywhere you cannot just keep on sending the driver inside the function. So we have to develop a mechanism for that. Secondly, suppose out here I am trying to log in. Okay, over here in the home page I have the login function. But every time login function won't return you the object of landing page. Maybe the login is not successful. Then it has to return the object of home page only, because the control will be on the home page. If it is success, then it has to return object of landing page. So how will we achieve this? One function returning objects of different page classes. Okay. So this is again a challenge. Sometimes you have a drop down on a web page. Based on the value you select on the drop down, the next page opens up. So one action, that is selection of a drop down, can take you to different pages. One function can do something which can take you to different pages. Maybe 10 different pages can be the output of one action or one function. So you have to cater to that as well. That is one multiple page returns from an action which is performed inside a function. Okay. Now along with that, it's not that you have to make separate pages or something every time. There are some common components in all the pages as well, which you have to deal with. For example, if you talk about this website only, flipkart.com, the top menu, the search bar in the top menu is present on all the pages. Okay, whether you're logged in or you're not logged in, this top menu will be present in all the pages, or the top search bar will be present in all the pages. So I cannot just go and have every page over here have actions of top menu. For example, I have to search in the top menu, so I can have a function like public void search. But this search functionality is there in every page, so I cannot just go and have the same function inside every page class. This will look very weird. So there are some components on the pages, especially headers and footers, which are common to all the pages. So you have to manage that as well. Okay, common components. Apart from that, you have to do the validations. Okay, that is, if validate the title, or like out here I have done the validations. That is, suppose after going to the home page, I have to validate the title of the page. So we write dot validator dot false. So this validator is a function in which if I pass false and validate, then the program will not stop in case the validation fails. So because there are two types of validations. One are soft validations, soft assertions, you can say in which the error is collected and you carry on with the test case. But sometimes you just want to stop the test case. So this I have implemented like this, that if the validator is you set false and you validate the title of the page, or you use validator and validate the presence of the element. This is a critical check, that I am checking some presence of the element. Okay, so you have to actually implement validations as well. Okay, plus you have to use reusable functions. Okay, because you cannot just repeat same stuff again and again. We'll look at that. And especially in page object model, we have got layers. We have different layers. We have a WebDriver layer, where basically few classes of WebDriver in which we'll just write the WebDriver code. We have a session layer which will keep the information about the session, that fine, in this session right now which test case is running, what is the failure in the current test, something like that. Okay, and you have got page object classes which we have just created. Now page object can be implemented with Page Factory and without Page Factory. There is something known as Page Factory. Page Factory was introduced by the Selenium people. Okay, Selenium people, they introduced Page Factory class to make page object model easy, but it came up with major drawbacks as well. With Page Factory, you could solve the problem of passing the driver to the page classes and all, but there were major drawbacks which I cannot state right now. I'll tell you. So we don't use this Page Factory anymore. In industry, people have stopped using Page Factory. So I'll teach you a framework with Page Factory, and with small tweaking you can use without Page Factory as well. I'll just tell you both the things. It's very easy. I'll tell you how to convert a Page Factory framework to a non-Page Factory. Okay. Apart from this, you have to cater to data as well. There are two types of data. Data which will frequently change. That is your regular test data. Okay, and the data which will not frequently change. Something like the admin user ID and password of your website. Okay, or some other kind of data which doesn't frequently changes, the IDs, the locators and all. So we keep the frequently changing data in some external file like JSON file, Excel file, YML file, and this kind of data we keep it in a properties file. Okay, apart from this, when we are running this test, of course we would want to generate some HTML reports and all. Okay, so we'll see how to generate HTML reports, and after generating the reports, emailing the reports to everyone, report failures in the reports, logs in the reports. Logs means that what happened when the test cases were running, what happened at each and every moment. Okay, and you can report multiple failures inside one test case as well. Alright, integrating with Grid, Jenkins, GitHubs, that is GitHub, that is also required. Okay, we will look at that. Alright, so there is a lot which has to be added. Okay, but you have to understand two things first. Before I go forward and implement all these things, you have to learn two things in page object model. That is the very basics of Java. One thing is encapsulation and one thing is inheritance. So you need to know about encapsulation as well as inheritance in detail, because most of these problems are going to be solved with the help of inheritance and encapsulation. How? For example, in encapsulation we always say that there is a relationship has a. Okay, out here inside the page you have a search bar on the top, right? You have a top menu. Okay, so every page has a top menu. Okay, so what you can do is you can create a new class known as top menu. Okay, so top menu is there in every page, so you can keep a reference, something like this. In home page also you will have a top menu object reference. In landing page also you can keep top menu reference. In launch page also you can keep top menu, because every page has a top menu. Okay, you can initialize this object somewhere and call the top menu functions. When you initialize the page, you can initialize the top menu object as well. Okay, we'll see that how we do that. Okay, how actually it's carried out, but I'm giving you an idea. In top menu you can have a function like public void search. So you don't need to keep it in every page class. Alright. Similarly, you have got inheritance. Inheritance is that one class extends another class. We have seen that before, right? Okay. Now there can be functions which are common for most of the page classes. Okay, or most of the test cases. Right, so we make base page and base test classes which other page and test classes inherit. I don't want to go into that right now. I'm just giving you an overview that fine, this is what we need to do. These are the problems, and now in the next video, let's start gradually resolving these problems. Okay.